welcome back to the podcast, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Today we're going to have a bit of a discussion about raw, obviously, but in the supermarkets. So I know some people listen to us in the States now as well, which is exciting. So supermarkets here, so we're talking about like Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's. Asda, and we'll touch on Pets at Home and Jollies, I think, as well. Basically places that aren't your typical raw supermarket, really, or raw shop, because I think there's quite, I don't know, it's a little bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not keen on the idea,
No.
in all honesty.
No.
I'm really not.
So we were just having a look. Obviously, there's not as much available online as if you go into the shop. So it'd be interesting if people sort of let us know what they've found, because we're just having a look at Asda. So I can see that Billy and Margot are in there. I think it's a complete. Anna, did you say you've seen others in Asda?
In Asda, well, I mean, I haven't been in Asda for a while, but I did know that there was Wilson's, Billy and Margot, Nurture Them Naturally. I'm not too sure how that stands at the moment. Oh, there was one other, I can't remember. Poppy's Picnic, that's
Poppies.
it. Yeah.
I think it's obviously it's good and we want people feeding fresh food, but it does concern me that these just get put in there and somebody can just randomly go up without knowing what raw food is about and just buy them for their dog. They don't know the contents. They don't know if it's the right amount of everything they should be getting. You know, one of the big things, obviously, for us feeding raw is sort of watching a dog's poo, and if it's getting a little bit crumbly, too much bone in it. And I think for me, I find it quite scary that people wouldn't know that. And I mean, I'm not saying this because I know, but I can't imagine that if I approached somebody in the aisle of Tesco that they would know what to tell me.
No.
So,
I mean, if we're honest, a lot of shops that predominantly sell raw food anyway, their staff always, sorry, not always, their staff aren't always up to date with the latest research. They're not, they just aren't quite as well versed as perhaps their managers be. So if you're popping into a supermarket to grab your dog's food and you come across a complete, or you think, oh, that's brilliant, you go and approach someone who has no knowledge, who usually works the toiletry aisle, bunged on that. I can just only imagine or begin to imagine the misinformation put out there by them.
yeah.
It's quite scary.
Yeah.
I have many thoughts about it. I'm not keen on this idea at all. For several reasons. I'll go over the last reason at the end. Please remind me. But yeah, I mean, they're just like everything you just said. I really don't like it for those reasons. One of the main ones as well, because if you get someone like certain members of my family, they will defrost the food in the
I was
microwave because
just
they have
about
no
to say
idea.
that. You
Yeah.
wouldn't know, would you? Because if it was with, I
No.
don't know where they keep it, but I'm assuming it's in the well, obviously in the frozen aisles, but it would be with food, like for human consumption. And I mean, what do people do if they forget to defrost something? They whack it in the microwave on defrost. Why would anyone, rightly so,
Think to do it
why
differently,
wouldn't you
yeah.
do that?
Yep.
And it's a bit concerning. I very much doubt that packaging is completely changed for supermarkets, because it kind of would have to be a raw for dummies if somebody was going to pick it up, and there would need to be so much information on that packaging that is just not possible.
No.
And obviously it's great for people like us if we're doing a shop and we see raw and we're like, oh, I'll just pick up a few of those. But again, if somebody is just in the supermarket and sees that, they're going to be like, oh, raw dog food, I might try that, which is great.
I mean, how many times we do exactly the same. You know, you're walking down an aisle, you think, oh, that's new. Oh, I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
Not having a clue what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's slightly
I'm I know. The other thing that really concerns me as well is the whole, I mean, we have people that have been in the shop before and we've found out, because they don't know everything that they're supposed to be doing with the raw food, they will flash fry the food.
Yeah.
And that's another concern of mine, that it's great for us who raw feed.
Yeah.
But for the general public who are just moving over, there's no transition guide, there's nothing to look out for. There's just no, I just think it's such a bad idea at the moment. It really is.
Yeah. I'm just having a look. So there's on Morrison's, there's the brand Raw, which I believe is relatively new. I'm not sure. I'm sure they. So I'm just reading what's in it, and it is a complete as such. And then on the website, right at the bottom of all the information of like the feeding guides and how much, it says do not cook, but that's right at the bottom. And usually online people don't really.
No.
It's just I'm covering myself thing. But I don't know. Once defrosted, use within 2 days. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about that at all. Yeah. It's interesting.
It's scary. With that Raw, if I'm correct, that was around just before the big sea plague that, disrupted everyone's lives around the world. I remember seeing that so it's been a few years now. Even in my local Morrison's, there's literally just one tiny freezer, and it's not always full. So I don't think it's.
I was going to say, actually, is that what they do? Is they do they? Because I've never seen it in any supermarket near me. Have they got
No.
like the sort of stand-up dog raw freezers? Is that what they've
Yeah.
got? Right. Okay.
Yeah, but then I assume I know that it has to be separated. It also has to be stored separately from the human food. But other than that, I haven't actually seen in any other large supermarket raw brands other than raw for Morrison's.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can see online it's just Billy and Margot and Asda, and then raw for
Yeah.
Morrison's. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I don't know. Also, personally, if I was the owner of a raw brand, I wouldn't want it in there because I would want to make sure people are using things properly. Obviously, that's covering themselves on the listing, but if somebody's going in the shop to do a shop and pick it up, do people know what to tell people?
No.
I mean, I assume you get a little bit of quick training. Oh, this is raw dog food, and maybe, tell people they got to keep it frozen. And I don't know if they'd say tell them not to defrost it, but I don't know. It just seems.
I was talking to someone from another company that we've both spoken about behind the scenes. There was there was nothing needed when they started selling to Asda, for example. As far as I know, it's quite worrying, really. It really is. I mean, look how long those who work within the raw feeding industry have to, study, have to look up at the newest product out there, what they do, what they don't do,
Yeah.
and then you're just bunging it in the supermarket. No training required at all. I don't like it, and I'll put it as bluntly as
no.
that. It's very scary.
Because
And this is,
go
I
ahead.
was going to say, this is also, so fed incorrectly. I think this is one of the reasons why vets are so against raw food, because
Absolutely.
you're putting it out there, it's used incorrectly. They're going to blame raw for a whole plethora of reasons, but feeding incorrectly is going to be one of them, especially when they talk about bones and this and that. And then if you've got someone who doesn't understand how raw food works, how raw food is made, or how you should store it, how you should feed it, what dog you're feeding,
Yeah.
it just opens you up for so much hell. And to be quite blunt, I will put this out here now. I think they're actually the raw feeding, shops. I think it's doing them a disservice.
Yeah, I do.
That they're working against them, because I've walked into other, superstores, but these are pet ones, and you'll find the same product that you're finding in an independent pet store who's been there for years and years for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it for that reason either.
Although
I think it's all about money.
So yeah, like obviously we've got Pets at Home and Jollies as well that sell raw. But I know in Jollies, I mean, that's raw and simple. That's daff. It's way more expensive. Way more expensive
Is
in
it?
Jollies. Yep. It's $179 for 454 grams versus, I know they've put their prices up, but It's not that much at all. So obviously Jolly's has a good range.
Yeah, they do.
And Pets at Home, we know, is just Nature's Menu, which again, I have a problem with Pets at Home selling
Yeah.
raw as well because, well, just from my personal experience, people don't really know or get that much. It's not the people works there's fault, obviously, but Nature's Menu. I've had this conversation with Nature's Menu. It's not balanced. I don't care what they say, and they won't answer your questions either when you sort of question them about why it's unbalanced.
Yeah.
I think their bone content is only something like 4% if they have any in it. It's very, very low. But people, I mean, I've got a neighbour who only feeds his dog Nature's Menu, and he's got
Yeah.
absolutely no clue that it's not balanced. And that's what
No.
worries me about the supermarkets, is that people are just going to do the same sort of thing. I don't know now. I know Pets at Home have got a few more brands, haven't they? So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that the training has been upped, but I just don't know. I think because it's not, obviously you've got other big sort of superstore pet shops like that, but they're more independent. So
Yeah.
they're much more up on things like that. But it's just, I don't know. I've never had a good experience with who I'm asking about raw in Pets at Home. So I
No.
think unless you find somebody that feeds their dog raw is really into it like us and it happens to work there, which is amazing, and I'm sure that happens a lot, it's going to be very on who you get, very dependent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, see, for Pets at Home, or as I like to call them, Pants at Home, I so I I don't like the way they're taught. I mean, I was taught the same way in the beginning when I first started out in the pet food industry. You're kind of given this tour, and you were told this is what this is for this type of dog, this is for that type of dog, this is breed. I can never say the word specific.
Specific, yeah.
Sort of-
Oh, like the Royal
So
Canin,
you,
don't they? They do like
yeah,
haha breed specific dog foods, as
yeah,
if.
hypoallergenic, this, that, and the other, and you kind of go around. You still don't have a clue at the end of it, and then people start coming in and asking questions, and you're completely stumped. So you kind of go, "Here's this product,
Yeah.
or this that product," and you get stuck. And it's only if you're the type of person who is really interested and has an investment in this kind of industry
Yeah.
that you actually want to learn more yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I feel that you're completely stuck, and you just end up going round and round. It becomes a job. They don't care. It's
I know.
it's sad. It's a sorry state of affairs.
Well, yeah, obviously, like Jolly's, a little bit more of. We should actually find out because obviously we know some people who have the brands in there.
Hmm.
So, what's this one? Oh, four board, four bird
What?
roast. I've not seen that one. Jesus, can't talk today. Yeah, so Jollies have got a lot more. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping, again, they have a little bit more knowledge. I know I spoke to somebody in my local one. She feeds raw, but she was just saying, oh, like she just sort of throws loads of tripe in and that. So she didn't really know that much, and that worried
No.
me a little bit. But again, are you sort of, because they sell loads of bones as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So people could be just picking up loads of bones and not really knowing what they're doing with them as well.
Yep.
So it's something for us to sort of investigate and find out, I think, like
Be quite fun actually.
trying to find out and do a little check of who knows what, and it would just be interesting, and it's nothing on those people either. It's just interesting to find out in a big company how well they
How
train
they
them.
train. Yeah. That would be you've got me thinking now. I was going to say as well in regards to bones, it's yet another reason why vets just honestly do not like. It's like, say for example, you're feeding a knuckle bone for an aggressive, eater,
Yeah,
and they're kind of. I've seen the Nature's Menu bags.
yeah.
They kind of just come out and slap them, and they're huge, and there's no warning on there.
No, nothing at
Well,
all.
the last time I looked, anyway. No, I mean you don't give it to. There's just no feeding guidelines in terms of things like that.
Yeah.
And the person working, behind the counter or walking around, like, they're not going to understand this, especially if they don't have a dog.
No.
But yet they're feeding,
And
it's quite.
also, like, Pro Dog are in Jollies, which
Oh,
is great. But, for example, I think, is it their wild boar one? I know one of them's boneless, and there's some boneless ones in there. People aren't going to know if they're picking up for the first time if it's boneless or not, or if it's
no.
got the right amount of stuff in it. So it just concerns me, and not knowing that they might go, oh, my dog likes that one, so I'll buy 15 of this one because they really like it, and then it's got no bone in it the whole time, and they
No.
don't know that actually you need to feed variety. It's not just about, especially if someone's used to picking up one bag of chicken kibble every month for their dog, then they're going to
It's not the
just pick up the same, I'll use your favourite word, flavour.
Flavor. Oh, don't.
You know what I mean, though? They just pick up the one protein from the one brand.
Yeah.
It might not be, and that's fine to feed one, obviously, boneless, we know. Or some have bone in and don't have offerlin. So,
Yeah.
I actually don't know if they've got higher. Well, I know DAF are in there, and obviously some of their poultry ones are slightly higher bone content as well. I don't know if it's the same with the new range that's in there. But they sell, the other range, the dinners range that they do.
Oh, yes, I know.
They sell
yeah.
those, and a lot of those are like the rabbit, I think, is 15% bone.
Yeah.
So again, people aren't going to know to look out for
No.
that change.
And then once again, you're going to get someone who's not used to those poos. They're not used to that change, and they're going to be running to their vets. Oh, there's something wrong with my dog. It's really constipated.
Yeah.
When in fact it's not. It's
What are
actually
you
learning how to use
feeding?
those
Raw?
muscles. And
Don't feed raw.
exactly.
And fair enough to that vet for saying that as well, because I absolutely would, because it does make, I think I've said before, sometimes I see, especially on Facebook groups, some people saying that they feed raw, and I just cringe because they've put what they're feeding and they're advising other people, and I just think, do you know what, I'd rather you just feed bloody kibble, because you're not doing it right, and it could go so wrong. So yeah, it does worry me. I was actually just saying, we were just having a discussion before we started recording, that, interestingly, where is it? Let me have a look. I'm sitting at the computer typing. Hang on a minute. Wainwright's now do. So Wainwright's kibble now do a dehydrated food. Dehydrated
It's
raw.
quite exciting.
So it's extortionate again. Freeze-dried. Oh, no. Freeze-dried. Anyway, I think it worked out. I sat and worked it out this morning for Nico. So he's nearly 40 kilos. So it would work out about £150 a month to feed him this. And if I go for lower cost brands at the moment with raw, it's about £105 a month. Obviously, you could argue that it's got all the extras and everything in it, so you don't really have to worry about it. But again, they're getting no variety, obviously.
No.
So I'd rather spend that extra 50 quid a month on things I know that I want to add in myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, people do it because it takes the fuss out of it. But it's quite good, actually, knowing that they do that for if people go on holiday or whatever, and they don't want to take raw, and they can use that. And I think actually it's a lot, because there's Koya is in there as well. And I can't, the price of Koya is quite unbelievable.
See, mine love it. I just can't justify buying it. I really cannot.
Let me have a look. So Koya is, so for a kilo box of the Wainwrights, it was £36.99. So it's £30.99. No, yeah, £30 for 750 grams of Koya. But you have to feed more of it. a
Oh,
day.
so
So
that's going to be
it's going to
really
be,
expensive.
yeah, I think I've said before, it was about 90 quid a week I worked out for Nico. It's just so expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah.
money.
But it's good. I think that, see, for me, I think that would be a good move for supermarkets to go into like stocking freeze dried or dehydrated raw.
Yeah,
If people wanted to do that, I mean, that would be a better option than raw dog food for me,
yeah,
just for the
just in the
masses.
freezer. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Because then at least it's not as risky.
Yep.
But Jollies have got a really
I
good
d
range now.
They have. I just haven't been in store.
Oh, I like
I
it.
think the
I do
last
like it,
no,
but I
because
just
you've got
didn't.
one near you, haven't you?
It's not, well, you say near. The nearest supermarket is 45 minutes away from me, so I suppose, yeah. But
Jeez.
I like, I do like they've got a lot in there now. It's really good. I'm just
Mm.
having a look. They've got Nutriment, DAF, Naked Dog,
Oh,
Pro Dog. They've got supplements in there. Benefit,
oh, okay, yeah, I
I've
like
got.
Benefit.
I'm just having a look. Yeah, loads. But again, I don't know. I don't know. I know money talks. So I don't really
Yeah,
know how these brands, if they feel the same way and they're a little bit concerned, it'd be quite good for us to find out, really.
yeah. I mean, do they check? Do they check what knowledge, you know, the people that are going to be selling it and the people under, the managers, kind of you got hierarchy, haven't you? Is
Yeah.
that the right word? Yeah. So, I mean, are these companies, that would be good to know, actually training the supermarket staff to
Well,
be
they'll have training
selling?
on their product. Just
Yeah.
thinking how it's worked when I've worked in retail over the years and been a manager,
Mm.
and you do have product training, which is great.
But is
But
that being passed along and is it being checked up on?
yeah, but
Because, like, do they do spot checks?
having product training is not the same, I'm assuming, in that side of things as having training on raw properly.
Mm.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting to find out. I'd like to, I
I
might
mean, I
ask
can.
Jollies. I think we should approach them and just because they do sell such a good range, it'd be interesting to know their whole process on training their staff.
Yeah. I mean, I can only speak from obviously the warehouse, which is absolutely huge, one of the biggest in London. I mean, we were just given, that brief walk around. This is this is that. And with anything else, it was just kind of winging it and finding out because I wanted to find out myself. Otherwise, you're kind of left blind.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously, at pause, we're given in-depth training continuously as well. It's not too bad, but obviously you're working in a bigger place. There's more to cover,
Yeah.
less to learn. No, not less to learn, less you do learn, because you're short for time.
Yeah, and I
So,
suppose the money is in the kibble for those places. Like the vast
yeah,
amounts of kibble they have, they're going to put a lot of their time and training into selling the kibble, and I'm pretty sure Pets at Home have sort of, well, I know they've got deals with brands where it's the one they push more. Like Wainwright, they sell Wainwrights, and that's what I used to feed one of my
yeah,
dogs years ago. And they always pushed people to Wainwrights because it's the brand that's there and it's
yeah,
theirs. So I don't know if that same effort would be put into talking about raw to people,
yeah. It's quite worrying, really.
because it would be
It,
good to say, like, if somebody said, "Oh, where's your raw freezers?" and you took someone over to it, have you got experience with feeding raw? Do you need any help
mm,
with like how to feed raw? You know, that's not been my experience, and that's what I'd like to sort of think would happen.
yeah. I mean, do you know what? The one thing that I prefer about independent shops, so say for example, you're seeing the same customer over and over again. If you can see they're only picking out one brand continuously, one protein
Yeah.
continuously, you build up that rapport. You can turn around and say, would you mind me just making a suggestion? I'd never put it on them. I'll just kind of, if they're not open to it, you pretty much know straight away. But in a supermarket, you don't have that same rapport. You don't see the same people all the time. You're just going to assume, well, you're not actually, when you're in checkout, are you actually going to think Do they know what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, I know it's up to people to do their own research, but for a novice, it's going to be really difficult. You
Yeah.
know, I've made huge mistakes with raw feeding in the past, and that came, that those mistakes came about because I didn't know what I was doing, and the shop that, told me what to do didn't know what they were doing either.
No. No. And people don't know what dog you've got at home, or,
No,
you know, my mum came home with something from Jolly's yesterday. And I was like, well, thank you. I'll have that for my dogs because she's got pugs. I've got huskies. I was like, I'm sorry, your pugs it's just a recipe for disaster. They're not having that. Especially because she's had a
what
dog
was
with
it?
blockages already.
Mm,
It was just a higher bone content. And she knows about raw, like I've told her, but she just didn't look. She didn't think to look. She just
no,
thought it's raw in a shop, in a freezer. It's fine for dogs. I'll just pick it up. So
yeah,
it was, yeah, like a 20% bone content, and it's
jeez,
just no, not for,
no,
and it's
not for
bony as
Has.
well, like chunky, so not for
Yeah,
little bracky dogs. It's just a bad idea.
yeah.
So
You have to watch them like a
I stole
hawk.
that. Thanks, mum.
Who's your payment?
um yeah, I just think people just need to be really careful, but they're not going to know.
No, they're not going to know. I just think training in general, if you're working in a superstore, I think you do need to have that, some kind of level of knowledge, even within the pet, food industry. I think in Pets at Home, places like Jolly's, do they really get the adequate training?
I mean,
I've been
we've
into,
sort of mentioned it before that even people in raw shops, there's only certain raw shops we will say to people to go to, because we know the people that own those shops know their stuff. They've
yeah,
they've spent money and time training themselves on nutrition for dogs, brands, and it's really personal. But like, there's a localish raw shop to me, and they're breeders, French bulldog breeders, and they've decided, I think it's quite a common theme, they've decided to open a raw shop. They know nothing. Like,
nothing.
lovely people, absolutely not a clue, not a clue.
Yeah,
The way they tell people how to transition to raw is just awful, and it's not even a difference of opinion. It's like, it's not safe. So
yeah,
that's worrying. That worries me, that anyone
yeah.
can just go and open a raw shop.
Mm.
There was this, oh no, I won't say. It's a really funny
No, go on,
meme.
say. So you've got to
I
say
can't find, there's
now.
a really funny meme. I don't know if people have seen it. I can't remember exactly what it says, but it was just like, just this girl, and it was saying that her boyfriend used to be a drug dealer, but now he's found out there's money in breeding
No.
dogs and opening a raw shop. And it was so bang on. Some places you walk into, it was just funny. I'm gonna share it.
You're gonna have to. Oh my gosh.
But that's the problem. So many people just
Yeah.
opening a raw shop because they see it's like the new thing, like, because it has become quite faddy for some people as well. Like, it's like sort of getting out there more, and people are thinking, oh,
Yeah.
what's this? Seeing they can make money off of it, and opening a raw shop, and they've got no background at all.
No. I mean, there are a few that I've seen online that actually just work from their garage, which I have no issue with. They're trying to, begin their career, within the raw feeding industry. But they, once again, the majority of them have absolutely no training. They're just on it, because it's on TikTok at the moment, and
That's what I mean.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's what
yeah,
that's social
it's a
media
trend,
is a
isn't it?
problem. That's what I
Yeah,
mean. That's what I was trying to sort of say. But
yeah,
it's things like TikTok, and yeah, it's quite, because you see a lot of people on TikTok showing like what I feed my dog in a day, and you're like,
I don't even know.
Jesus.
Yeah, I am not. I don't know what's wrong with my algorithm at the moment. But even all I am seeing is dog bowls, salmon oil, this, that, and the other,
Just
and
pumping loads of salmon
it's
oil on
continu
top, and
Yeah,
yeah.
them selling it. I don't actually think they know what the product
Right. Well,
is
I
or
tell
what it
you, this
does.
is a big bugbear of mine. There's brands out
Mm.
there, and I hope you're listening. I'm shaking my finger at you because I know you know what you're doing. I know you know what you're doing, and you're selling salmon oil for one. which is just no for any of us who've like done our research, studied nutrition courses. We just know that salmon oil is just not the one. And I don't know, again, it's out there that that's the thing to use. So companies that I feel like should know better, they're not even just selling salmon oil, they're selling it by the litre in bottles.
I know. But it's money, isn't it?
That's the problem. But I couldn't, this is why I'll never be rich, because I can do that to people. I mean, you're buying like a 2 litre bottle of salmon oil. Do you really think by the time you get even halfway through that that's going to be suitable for your dog to be consuming? Because it is not.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to be completely honest here. I use salmon oil in very small amounts
I know.
on the
I
ferrets,
know you
nail
do,
clipping
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll put a little bit on their fur, but it'll be minute, but it'll be enough just to be able to
Yeah,
clip their nails.
yeah, I know. That it's
Yeah.
but it's
I know. But
honestly
even
a
then,
big
the dark
bugbear.
bottle is storage as well. No one ever gives you advice on storage with these
Nope.
products. If it is a must or whatever, let's be educating people about
Or if you're going
why
to
we
use
use
something,
the
store
darker
it
bottles,
properly.
put it away.
Yeah,
Yes.
small bottles.
Yeah.
Like a good example for me is like I've got a tub of NutraZinc that I use for Indian Nico. NutraZinc is great. You get a massive tub of it because it's like pure zinc. I think it's gluconate. I can't remember. Anyway, besides the point. You get a massive tub. If you are one of these huge husky kennels and you're giving it every day, it's great. But when you are someone like, I've had this since November, it's gone in the bin, and I was only not even halfway through it for 2 dogs, because it just doesn't hold, it oxidizes, it's defunct now. So I can't actually get through it quick enough to use the product before actually, and people wonder why it stops working, and it's because actually it has a time that you have to use it, and then you have to buy it fresh again. And it's like with oils, fish oils especially. I mean, Snow's on a higher amount at the moment of omega-3, but I've bought her capsules and I just cut one of them open every day because it's in a capsule. When they're in those big bottles and it's the salmon oil and it just oxidizes immediately.
Yeah.
It's gross. And I mean,
I know,
500 mils bottles would be enough. Well, it's still too big for me, but I just think, and I see people selling it by, like those big 5 litre.
Oh,
It's just gross.
It really is.
But again,
then again,
it's that again though. That's like companies I think do know and should know better.
Of course they do, because they have nutritionists working with them. They have people who are in the know. It's all about money. But yet again, are they teaching the places who are selling these products? Are they giving them the knowledge to be able to pass on to other people? And I feel they should be.
Yeah.
I do get that there's an element of reading yourself. However, like I was saying, if you are a novice and you are just learning, you will learn eventually to read everything on the back of a pack. You'll learn to read the small bits, but in the beginning, you're not going to do it.
No, I know. And obviously, salmon oil is in a lot of completes. I mean, when I give a complete, I'm aware that it's in some of them, but it's such a tiny amount. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it all, to be honest.
Well, my ferrets like it.
I'm sure all dogs love it, but it's just, we know really the reality of it. It's just not really, it's not a good option. And it's not, I'm not even saying if you want to feed what you want, but it annoys me that it's sort of pushed as the thing to put on your dog's food. Like the number one supplement. Everyone's like salmon oil, and then someone else comes out with it because they see it's popular and it's selling, when they should know full well that don't sell it in those big bottles like that.
I know, but then you see a lot of, I'm going to say this with air quotes, nutritionists, canine nutritionists on TikTok as well. They don't help. I mean, when they are, that they've done this beautiful bowl, you see, even if it's with kibble and you see the toppers, and then you've got this supplement, that supplement, next door supplement, and then you've got like a pump of salmon oil in. I've got to be honest, if I sneezed on it, it'd fly in my face. There's so many different bits and pieces, and I think once again, people are going to be watching that, thinking, "Ooh, I need this, I need that," and there's no one in these. Obviously, of course, it's up to you what you want to get. But once again, independent, smaller shops will be able to advise you better. We have to say to you, is that supplement really needed?
Yeah.
What are you using it for? Whereas, I mean, even if you phone some really great companies like Doorwest, for
Yeah.
example, they're going to ask you questions, relevant questions, and then you'll be able to make an informed choice at the end. Supermarkets, even superstores, you are not going to get that level of care.
No.
So I personally advise anyone starting out, supplement, food, anything, go to a smaller, do your research, go to a smaller independent shop, make sure that they know their stuff and go from there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, I
It's
just flew straight
no,
from
no.
TikTok too.
It's no. Is it just Asda and Morrison's? I don't know if do any of the other supermarkets have you seen sell raw?
I have never seen anything in my local Tesco's, which is quite large. I'm just trying to think.
I'm gonna have to have a snoop
Have a
around.
hunt, yeah.
But
I mean,
I know. Yeah. Get some freeze dried in, I think. Give people option for something better in the kibble aisle. Or
yes.
even better wet foods. But I just think they should at least have one person or two people in that supermarket that they know they can train up properly. And I think that's also very much down to the brands who are going in there.
Yeah.
You know, I would, if I was a brand, I'd be questioning, right, who's selling our food? Who can people go to know how to use our brand properly? And, well, I'm saying this like I know that people don't do that, but they could well do that.
Yeah.
But I just can't imagine Sue in Sainsbury's down the biscuit aisle that I'd go and ask her and she could tell me all about
She's
raw.
not gonna know.
She might surprise me.
She might. I doubt it, but she might.
I suppose as
You know what?
go on.
Oh, go on. I was going to say it might actually be an idea to try and invite someone from, Pets at Home on, just to have a chat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. That might be quite a good idea actually. So yeah, one of the things I was going to say as well, obviously we've spoken about it before that about feeding raw and kibble and things together. But I don't know as well. There's also risks with that in that would people be half the time feeding kibble, half the time feeding raw, not knowing supplements to add, what not to add, if they're just going to go the balance thing. It's just like Pandora's box, isn't it, really? Really, really is. I don't know.
It is.
But all we can do is go in and have a little snoop ourselves. Actually, it'd be interesting if anybody has could message us if they've got experience of going in the supermarket and asking, because I know what we're all like in this community.
Yeah, we have to know everything.
I could just, I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't go up to somebody and like start testing to see what they know, because if they didn't know anything, I couldn't just walk away and be like, oh, okay, thank you. I'd be like, well, right, let me tell you something. They'd be like, oh,
See,
God.
I'm the opposite. I stand there and listen, and when you're kind of thinking, when do I say something? And then I'm kind of walking away. I'm like, okay, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
It would just annoy me too much. But I'm sure there's some of you out there who have who've done it. So it'd be interesting, actually, if you could message us and let us know what your experience was like. But I might go to Jolly's this weekend anyway to pick up some bits. So I'm just going to ask them. I'm just going to say, just honestly, we were chatting about raw training and things like, what do you guys get? Because I'm sure people would be like honest and be like, nothing. Or actually, we get a lot of training. So it'd be good to know. And I think we should reach out to some people we know for brands actually, and just get their opinion on what their company does. Because we know a few people from brands we could ask. So it'd be very interesting, really.
It would be, because I know that some brands do offer training, but it's very much if you want to take that.
Yeah, for
So,
independent shops, you know, that's a
yeah,
really good thing. But I don't
yeah.
don't know if the big companies would do it.
No, I don't think so at all. Do you know what? I'm actually going to be on a mission when I hop into pee at home next time.
Be at home.
Pee at home. I don't know if I could say the full word.
Well, I've said it a million times, so I won't worry about it. I just don't go in there anymore. I think when you just buy everything online most of the time, you just realise a lot of what you were getting in there was just things for the sake of it.
See,
and my dogs
I always have.
don't get
Go.
treats either, really.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I had Wild Pet Emporium, and I had, like, when I closed it, I actually kept a lot of stuff just for the dogs. So I thought, I sold off a lot of stuff, but I thought, actually, I'm going to keep it because then I've got treats for quite a while.
Yeah.
But when I ran out, I realised I was only giving it to them because, for the sake of it, because what I'll usually do is give them like a chicken foot, frozen chicken foot or something throughout the day, or sometimes give them their
or
fish.
Sprat.
Yeah, their fish as a treat. I don't actually do it. I really want to get a dehydrator, actually, because you do it, don't you? Make your own.
I attempted.
Oh, yes.
I attempted.
The chicken didn't look right. And what's worse, everyone, is that Anna made raw chicken, dehydrated raw chicken treats, and then decided to try one to see if it was done.
It's good enough for me. It's good enough for the dogs.
Jesus Christ. Oh, it's so
I
grim.
don't know.
You're still
I was
here.
all right though. I was okay. I'm still here. Yeah, eye on the stomach.
Oh, Jesus.
Not that we're advising that anyone at home does that themselves.
Oh, God. I used to eat biscuits, dog biscuits, when I was a kid.
Oh, me too. I used to eat goldfish flakes.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, they've just taken that to a new level.
Yeah.
When I dish up
don't.
like my cat, I just cannot switch her to raw. I'm still not going to give up, but 2 years down the line now, and she hates me every time I try.
Process.
But every time I open a cat food pouch and put cat food in, my daughter's like, that tastes really, that smells like it's going to taste really good. I swear that she's probably eaten some. What is wrong with kids?
Well, I've now found out we've pretty much all been there. Doesn't Philippa? She likes to have a good old try of things, doesn't she? I'm sure she does. I'm sure she tried the Mormont.
Oh, someone did. Oh no, Mike tried some more mud.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I told him what it was, and because we were smelling it, and it's got a certain smell to it. So he said it smells quite nice, and I was like, try it. It's just, it's peat, isn't it? Peat,
it's mud.
Pretty much. So yeah, he tried it. Said it was quite nice. He said it tasted like milk of magnesia, which makes sense, really. Yeah. Oh. I won't be trying it to confirm. So
no, I draw the line there.
Not
I really
for
do.
me. I see a lot of adverts for like cooked food brands, and them saying, it's the human grade meat and things, and sometimes they'll sit there in the adverts and like be eating it, trying it themselves, and I'm like, oh no. I don't know what it is, but as soon as I know it's for my dog, I go off. Like, even the bone broth, when I make my bone broth, I can't have that for me because it's the dog's bone broth. Even though it's exactly the same thing, it just instantly makes me like, oh God, no, can't do it.
I don't. I'm not gonna lie. I have drunk when I've mixed. I did it unintentionally. I had my bone broth and then the dog's bone broth, and I'd somehow switched them about. So I was drinking the dog's bone broth, and I just after that just thought,
it's all the same. It's just in my head, I'm just like, no, gross. That's for dogs.
No.
I'll be like that when I start making my kefir from scratch. I know I won't be able to have the one out of the dog's jar.
Well,
I don't know. I'm just weird. It'll freak me out.
Oh no.
I really want to make the blueberry water one. I got the recipe off Helena.
Yeah.
I really want to try that.
From Poochie.
Yes. I'm a bit scared making it. I joined a fermenting group actually, and there's every other post is this mold? Is this mold? And everyone's like, yeah, it's
Oh,
mold. Throw it away. You haven't sealed the jar properly. And I'm so freaked out. That would be me.
I have tried it with a kefir, but it's, shall we just say it's not my forte?
I have to say that brand that I got in Tesco, it was in the Polish food section. That's the
Yeah.
best kefir I've ever bought from a
Really?
supermarket. When I opened it, it fizzed. Like you could hear sort of the carbonated sound, and it smells like fresh when people make it. It was really good, and it's a litre, $1.99, and I sort of did it in the pour molds, like you buy from a company who uses the pour molds.
Yeah.
So what is it, like nearly a £5 for 6 pours, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, and out of that $1.99 bottle, I got about 24 pours
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
for $1.99. And it's like really good kefir. So yeah, it's in the Polish section if anybody shops in Tesco. Very good. So you can pick that up.
Yes.
Yeah, I might do that so I don't get mold poison. Jesus. Scare myself.
Can't film today. I'm in hospital.
You what?
I said, can't film today. You're in hospital.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. So yeah. So general consensus is I don't think that it's a particularly good idea for raw to be in the supermarket. I think we all know where to buy food in a pet shop. I'm quite happy not getting my raw food the same time as my shop for my family. I just think it's I don't know. I think the downsides outweigh the benefits to it personally.
I think, like you were saying, we know so many different shops. I mean, some of the greats out there that will give you excellent advice. We're always going to mention Poochie because Helena is just absolutely fabulous, knows her stuff. Steph's, Pet Pantry, Lavenders as well, quite good,
Lavender,
aren't they? For
Trusty Pet
advice.
Supplies,
Yes,
Raw
yes.
Superstore. Oh, there's so many. There's so many that
Yeah.
are amazing.
There's one that I've seen on is it Instagram? And I'm absolutely obsessed with them at the minute, called Peculiar.
Yep, love
Oh, I
Peculiar.
think they're brilliant.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
I've bought quite a few treats and bits and pieces over the last couple of years from there. Really, really,
Yeah.
really good. I'm really sorry, I can't remember your name, the girl who owns it, but she knows her stuff as well.
She knows her
She
stuff,
really
yeah,
knows her
definitely.
stuff. They sell really nice things that you don't find everywhere else as well.
I know. I love the dried mussels.
Oh, the Mr. Bones
Yeah.
ones.
Think
Yeah.
so. And then you got I've got a little glass of shrimp for a little glass jar of shrimps for Bolt as well. And then it's the flounders as well. They're flounders, aren't
The
they?
flounders, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
I tell you what I
huge.
saw the other day. Just going off on a tangent here now, but whatever. All relative. So I was looking up more sustainable sort of fish oils. And then I was looking up ones that are better for, not oxidizing or causing inflammation and things like that. I didn't realise, probably late to the party, that 4-Leaf Rover do green lip mussel oil.
Oh.
And actually,
I didn't know that.
I'll give a shout out to Healthful Pets, the website, because I actually get all my probiotics from them now for the dogs. And they had it out of stock, limited 2 bottles, I think it was, per order. So I'm assuming it's quite hard to get hold of. I couldn't find it anywhere in stock in the UK, but it was the benefits of it and the high omega-3s. Really, really good. I really want to hunt it down. So it's really interesting, just as a alternative to feeding fish, because I know some dogs just won't eat it.
No, Molly won't.
Well, she's not.
She won't touch fish unless you cut it up and hide it. She's really weird.
See, Anaforte do the algae oil, obviously. And I wish more people knew about that as an alternative to using the salmon oil. Like,
Yeah, I think Anaforte in general are just really
they are
good.
really, really good, really affordable
Yeah,
products as well. Their green
yeah.
lip mussels amazing, big tubs of that.
Mm.
Yeah, I just think people just don't know, do they? That's the
No.
thing.
No.
And if it's in the supermarket, it must be okay.
I know. Even down to ingredient reading on the back of a pack. I mean, we'll have a whole, session on that alone because that's such an important one. But if you're to ask, your random supermarket, owner or, worker, what's in the back of this? Can you tell me what this is? They're not going to have a Scooby.
No.
They're not going to be able to run off and have a look and come back to you and have a full on conversation. They're on the clock and it's,
Yeah. Or some people
yeah,
actually who don't know anything about raw food, it might alarm them that there's bone in it, because everyone knows, feeding raw or not, you don't feed dogs cooked bones.
yeah,
So I imagine some people, and well, I know because I've seen it, get worried about raw bone as well. So
yeah.
that would probably be really like confusing to some people to suddenly see a dog food that's got raw bone in it. And
Mm.
imagine them going up to somebody in a supermarket and saying, "Why does this have bone in it?" And they're probably going to get, I don't know.
And then you've got the whole dehydrated bone. Are they going to be able to explain that
Yeah,
separate from, oh,
yeah.
yes.
So it would be interesting to know everyone else's thoughts on this. But it's just something that we've sort of spoke about behind the scenes a bit and thought it was a bit of an interesting subject just to get everyone else's views on, because not for us. Not for us.
No, no. Definitely not for me. I
No,
think just, seeing things, behind the scenes, it's slightly different.
it's a bit alarming.
Yeah, it is.
So, next time we put out something after this, I know we keep saying it, but I think we're going to have quite an interesting guest on. So, there's quite a few interesting people lined up, actually. Different subjects. And hopefully we'll actually put a bit of a shout out for questions as well when we have people on, because I think especially our next guest, hopefully, fingers crossed it all works out, that it's it's a big one for people to get answers out of.
Yeah, I agree.
So if it all works out, we should be doing a shout out to get your questions in. So yes, watch this space.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. Right. Well, we shall see you next time for more rants and raves. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.
While we share our personal views and experiences with canine health and nutrition, it's important to note our podcast is not a substitute for professional veterinary advice. If you have any concerns or questions about your dog's health or well-being, we strongly recommend seeking guidance from a qualified vet. Every dog is unique and individual circumstances may require specific attention. Our podcast is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Please do not take any information from our podcast as one-to-one nutritional advice. Thanks for tuning in.